Welcome to the broadcast, Major Shah. My first question to you is, how do you view these developments? It took 16 rounds of talks for this particular disengagement process to begin, especially at the Gogra hot springs area.
Priyanka, very, very good question by you, and let me tell you, by means of your question, I would be able to reach a lot of minds who would be having the similar questions and who would be eager to know about the same topic. Now, China has never honored any of the policies, any of the agreement that we have signed with China, be it the Panchsheel Pact, be it anything. They've never done that. They have showed, they have projected an image that they are going to be honoring a pact, but ultimately they have not. Well, 16 round of corps commander talks. A corps commander is a lieutenant general, which is, the rank is, for people who don't understand the army hierarchy, it's after the chief basically. That's the lieutenant general, the second highest rank in the country. 16 round of corps commander talks resulted in a stalemate, and mind you, these were long marathon long talks, like over 10 hours, 12 hours, long talks. Nothing came out. Now, also there is, we have to see it from one more angle as well, that there are soon going to be elections in China. One is the political angle, the other is, okay, some people are saying it's too early to celebrate people because China has never, well, I would say celebrate, live the moment. At least they are going back. And though I do not trust China, they are experts at psychological warfare, they are experts at protection, they are experts at lying, they are experts at not honoring the pact, not honoring what they have to do. Now when they go back, a wild cat like a tiger or a leopard or a cheetah or a lion takes a few steps behind before it leaps. That's what happened, tactical withdrawal happened in Vietnam in 1979 when the Chinese army came into Vietnam land. Their border guards, their rangers, their paramilitary was on the borders. They moved behind. And when the Chinese army thought it's easy coming for them, that is when the Chinese army made contact with the Vietnamese regular army, who gave them a sound thrashing. That Chinese army said, "Piche mod, tez chal, daud ke chal," and they went back running. They never messed with Vietnam thereafter. They never had the guts. Now, which countries till today have had the courage to stand up to China? None. Apart from Vietnam, then none. Now, India has stood up to it. So yes, it should be celebrated for the fact that yes, it might happen that I hope that they honor the pact. But even if they do not, which is quite likely actually, Priyanka, which is quite likely, then we should be prepared for what could happen. But yes, for the time being, yes, and when General Manoj Pandey, when our chief of the army staff, in fact, when I met the chief, let me tell you, very interesting, just not far back, few days back. In fact, we discussed on different strategies, and there were other veterans over there as well. And the foresight that our army chief has, it is remarkable. In fact, he gifted me this tie, this Indian Army tie. So it was, I wrote on straight away in his office. That's a different thing. But the foresight that he has when he lands up there personally, it conveys a loud and clear message to the entire nation, not just to the Indian Army alone, to the entire nation. It conveys a message to China, it conveys a message to the entire world, to the entire international community, that the Indian Army's chief personally goes there. And now, when the disengagement process at Gogra and Hot Springs starts, well, Renka, earlier we used to patrol up till finger 8. Now we started patrolling, then we had started patrolling up till finger 4, which means we had been pushed slightly behind. And remember the night of 15th June 2020, when Colonel Babu from Bihar Regiment was martyred, he was awarded a Mahavir Chakra posthumously, 20 other brave hearts of ours. That is the time when our tensions were on the peak, when we were fighting with the Chinese army, not with weapons, but with stones, with clubs, with bars, with sticks. So it was, you can imagine the gruesome sight it was, how it was, the tension at the border was, because there's no clear demarcation, right? There's no clear line. As Robert Frost in his poem says, good fences make good neighbors. Here there's no fence. Here it's all a perception that here's our land, here's your land, and it has to be filed on paper. Like, for example, if I put in simple words for everyone to understand, when we buy a property. And if we go by a verbal agreement in principle, it would not be honored. Rest assured, it would not be honored most of the times. But the moment you sign it, the moment there's a pact, then yes, there are chances of it being honored. So now, hopefully, when the army chief comes there, and I see, because the army chief is a man of very, very good standing, and I see that China should be now, hopefully, we should be the initial ones where China should honor the pact with us, and they should withdraw, and they should not come back thereafter, because they believe in land grabbing, in Islamic slicing, in stealing others' land. So now hopefully China should not come back to its old tactics, because they believe in winning wars without fighting. That's Sun Tzu's philosophy. Like we have Chanakya Riti, Kautilya's, the art of like how we should fight wars, our strategy. Similarly, the art of war is to win wars without fighting, through words, through psychological warfare, through information warfare, through cyber warfare, through various things. But I think this initial start has happened. So I think it's a reason to celebrate, at least for the time being, and we should celebrate it, Priyanka.
As you rightly said that India is sending out a strong message with Army Chief's visit to Ladakh, and of course you mentioned the fact that we can hope that China maintains this diplomacy here. But again the question comes in, it is not very easy to trust China, as you mentioned the fact that they are involved in salami slicing tactics. But how do we somehow come into that middle ground of the fact that okay, now it's time that this disengagement process happens peacefully, and that we can have some trust towards China, or can we not trust China at all?
One again by you, Priyanka. Yes, the disengagement right now at the time being will happen peacefully. I am 100% sure of that. I have no doubts about the fact that the disengagement, because China and themselves came forward and they said we'll move behind, right? They might be having a bigger plan, a bigger strategy, a bigger ulterior motive in mind, but it is their requirement as well at the moment. So they have pushed behind, they have moved behind. So yes, it will happen peacefully, but the trouble is not this. The trouble is tomorrow, because it's a perception, right? So they are often, Chinese patrols and the Indian Army patrols, they come face to face. In fact, if you go to YouTube, for every single person who's watching us, they can go to YouTube and they can see that they are Chinese Army who are saying, this is our land as per my map. And we are saying, no, our soldiers are saying, as per my map, this is our land. That is still there, it's our land. So that you versus me would keep on going on until and unless it's documented formally on files. They have been agreements earlier as well, and it was honored to a certain while, but after that, China is very sly. If I may put it this way, they are very, if I may say, they're very slimy. Pardon me for using this, but the fact is, they have been doing that kind of thing. But right now, for the time being, it's only about wait and watch, and for how long China is going to honor it. I hope they honor it permanently forever, and I hope this is documented and kept in records, and China takes it from us that the entire 3,488 kilometer stretch, that perception, that line is maintained, the status quo over there as of now. Whatever we have regained back our land is maintained forever.
Well, definitely also the area which are, as you said, the Indian side says as per my map and PLA says as per their map. Why does this scenario have to occur? Why can't there be a proper decision made to what area belongs to whom?
I'm impressed by the question you asked me, Priyanka. I'm talking about the early 90s. That time what happened? A pact was signed. That's the Shimla Pact between the British Indian Army that time. So on that map, in the pact, on a large scale map with a thick leaded pencil, a line was drawn. Now that was the McMahon line and the line bordering India and China. Now on a small scale, on a large scale, on a small scale map with thick leaded pencil, obviously that line which has been drawn, when you go on ground, the width of that line, that pencil would go across over 100 kilometers. And now because the width of that line is over 100 kilometers, there is no line. Unlike the India-Pakistan border, which is line of control, there is a proper line, there is a proper fencing, is properly demarcated. Here there is line of actual control, which means it's a perception. Now, why can't we actually make a clear-cut demarcated border and make it like a line of control? Because it isn't easy. To make anything as a line of control or a border, you need to man that. You need to man that area. Like another example for everyone to understand, in our colony, in our society, or wherever we live, in our gate, we have a demarcated, gated colony. We have walls. Our neighbor and us, there's a wall in between, and which is manned many times by guards, security guards. But if it is not manned, then there's a problem. And like what happened in Kargil, there used to be because everyone is familiar with Kargil, right? 1999. So that time in winters, it used to be so cold that there was a pact with Pakistan that, okay, both of us will vacate our forward posts where there is chilly winter, it's humid winter. We'll come back and occupy those posts after the winter is over. But Pakistan played very sly. They came and occupied our peaks. That's why we had to push them back bravely. So now, similarly, so it's very important to man a post. Now, those posts cannot be manned actually, Priyanka. The area is extremely difficult and its perception. So, because that area cannot be actually manned on ground, there is a perception. And as long as there is a perception, there is no clear-cut divide that tu main, you versus me will keep on your border, my border, as per my map, as per your map. It will keep going on, Priyanka, and it has to be put an end by documenting it on paper and actually saying this is okay, we have decided. And even if it's a perception, even if it's a line of actual control, it can be made into a line of control that way. But the perception, the line would still remain there.